A lot of people out there who struggle with mental health and things like that, going through problems, and a person who has helped me through a lot of stuff and worked with him a long time, Robert Hisee, is an unconscious mind therapist. I want to speak to him. He's here now on the line. Rob, good morning.
Good morning, James. How are you, buddy? You all right, mate?
I'm good, Rob. I'm good, mate. It's so good to speak to you. We had a great chat today. You've helped me through loads of things. But look, Rob, just talk me through what you do in terms of... I know you can hypnotise people. You do sessions on that, but you do a lot of visualisation. Just talk me through the stuff that you do.
So what I do is I work differently than a psychotherapist or a counsellor. They normally deal with the content of the problem, where I look at the thought processes. So, you know, the unconscious thought process to anxiety is the same in everyone's brain, but the content the content of it's all different. So, you know, the process is, if you take a bad past experience and you throw it into the future, that's what causes anxiety. So maybe if you've been mugged on a bus, every time you see a bus, you start to bring back the same emotions that you learned on the day. So it's more to do with the emotional intelligence, because the biggest thing that I think I've ever learned, Jamie, is that the human mind can only think how you feel. There's never been a human being in 2 million years, while experiencing emotion, sadness can make a happy thought. If you feel anxious, your brain checks in with the body and it notices that, you know, how you're feeling, it make more correspondent thoughts with the emotions. We can't think greater than our emotions. And this is where a lot of other therapists get it wrong, when they're trying to keep talking about the problem too much, accessing the emotions, triggering off that feeling, then you're supposed to try to make it better. So I look at more of how to undo that, and it's more focused on, you know, moving forward, going towards your goals, you know, how to create new emotions, new neural pathways in the brain. And as you know about visualization.
Yeah, well, we've done it a lot, haven't we? And we've worked on it, and you've helped me loads. And we talked about visualizations and things that I was going to do in media and working and all that sort of stuff. And that was 3 years ago, and look at me now.
I remember it, mate, very well. We were sitting out on outside my retreat in Spain, and we were sitting on the water, and we was talking about, I remember teaching about the reticular activation system. Anyone don't know what that is, get on Google and have a look. The reticular activation system is a group of neurons at the bottom of the brain that works as a filtering system. And, you know, it's the oldest proverb of all time: what you focus on, you become what you think about. It's like, you know, if you go and you buy a new car, everywhere you go, you see that new car. Or if your missus becomes pregnant, you start noticing pregnant women everywhere, you know, and even your mum's filter's going to change, because she go, I bumped into Julie down the shop today, her sister's cousins had twins, got to be sank in the water. So this is the RES system. And I remember doing that video with you, and, you know, we started practicing the visualization, because you said you'd done it through your football since you was a kid. Yeah. Do you remember saying that? And you were saying like you never knew what you was doing, but you always done it. And I remember sitting out there on the lake, and you said, right, I want to do TalkSport. I've been on there once or twice. I want to get my own show. And then you said about Sky punditting and things like that as well. I remember you talking about it. And then it was literally, you come back in about 5 months, that was it. You created it. You was there. He was on there. Yeah,
and sorry, Jermaine, I know you got some questions, but just on that, Rob, in terms of being able to create that and have that mindset for people who maybe might not be able to find... What can they do? What are the processes to go through to create that mindset in yourself?
Through the reticular activation system, I say to everyone, definitely go and Google it. When you close your eyes and you create a visualization, what we're really doing is we're creating an emotion. People keep talking about the vision bits, the emotion we get from it. The unconscious doesn't know something that's really happened to you, like failing or passing a test at school, or imagining something that good or bad happened to you. So it doesn't know what goes in the 3D world or you know, inside your imagination. So when you close your eyes and you create the emotions of where you want to be, say like a professional football player, you have to train the body prior to the event to feel like a professional player before you can think within those chemical boundaries of the emotions of what you're experiencing. So through, like a lot of youth footballers, a lot of people I talk to, I don't realise they're visualising, but they was obsessed with it. You know, obsessed with this vision. Some people do it by luck, and then some people don't. They do a lot of self-talk. But when you're visualising, what you're actually doing is you're rewiring your brain. You're rewiring these group of neurons to focus on and let information in which you care about. So if you're focused on anxiety, you're going to see more evidence that you have anxiety. If you're focused on being a professional footballer and you keep that vision going, you're setting your filter to see more evidence that that's what you're going to be, meaning that you start to the emotions. I'll give you a good example. Muhammad Ali at 18 wins the Olympics in Rome, goes, I'm the greatest. I'm the next heavyweight champion of the world. I'm going to be the greatest boxer we've ever seen. Everyone thought, who's this flash little fella? Like, he's 18 years old, giving it the Barry, and no, who do you think he is? He ain't even a professional boxer. But when you study Muhammad Ali, like I am, I'm a big fan of his mindset. Since he was 12 years old, he was visualising being a world champion. He said there weren't many tellies about when I was a kid. It'd be when I'd be out running, I'd be visualising knocking people out, buying my mum and dad a house. I want a WBA belt. When I'd be skipping in the gym, I'd be visualising knocking people out, movement, and practising emotions in his mind just as much as he did in his ability. Mm-hmm. And I've heard a lot of you pro footballers talk about this over the years. I remember hearing Rio Ferdinand talking in an interview once saying something about he used to lie in bed before a game and he'd visualise. He said if he was up against Thierry Henry, he'd visualise Thierry Henry's attributes. Yeah, and then he'd get back, have a glass of water, get back in bed, and he'd visualise himself beating those attributes. And it was something that he'd done on a regular basis. Do you guys, like you two, does that make a lot of sense?
Jermaine was just out every weekend.
Rob, I won't, mate, I promise. I was thinking about my next game.
Yeah, I bet you were.
I'm going to do it.
I bet you were.
Rob,
go on, mate.
I've always been sceptical and about hypnotherapy and being hypnotised. Is it true or is it just all myth? And you watch the films and they say, listen to this clock, it's going back and forth, and next to me, the person's talking to them. What is your technique and what is hypnotherapy? What is being hypnotised? Because obviously, like I said, you see in films, is it like that? Is it are you under a spell? I say get up, walk, and you do it and your eyes are closed. What is actually hypnotherapy?
It's a good question because so many people confuse hypnotherapy with stage hypnosis. That's what you're doing now. Stage hypnosis is a command state where you find people that's susceptible. Now, everyone can be sort of hypnotised. If they're not very susceptible, you can turn it into brainwashing. So it might take a week to get someone in the same state as it did in stage hypnosis. But stage hypnosis is a command state. So you're looking for susceptible people. It's nothing to do with the therapy side of hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy is more of a relaxed state where you close your eyes and you use visualizations. And when you close your eyes, you go internal. So what you're doing is you're shutting off your external senses, so and you're creating more of an internal awareness for your emotional intelligence. So that's what hypnotherapy is more about. Now, the stage hypnosis, like I've done a show at Dapper Laughs Club, lit in Clapham just before Christmas. I do them every now and again. And what that is, that's more about command states. But what I do is I look for susceptible people. So I ain't got time on stage to muck about with people and spend loads of time. So I'll do little tests. So, for instance, I'll get the old audience involved and I'll get them to imagine I put some soft music on. Yeah. I'll get them to imagine they've got balloons in one hand tied around their hands and the other hand they're holding a bag of books. Now, to cut it short, I'll do a little talk. I talk through it, saying the wind's blowing, lifting it up, the weights. And the ones that end up with the hand going up in the air with the balloons is the ones that I'm looking for because they're susceptible. They've got their eyes closed, they're imagining it, and their body's starting to follow the suggestion. So when I look for them guys, those are the ones I call up on stage, and then I start, I do other little tests and other little things, and I sort of shock inductions or, there's all different types of inductions we do. I put them under. But when you first put them under, it still takes a bit of time. You can lose them. So then I have to start off with little skits like horse riding, putting their arms out and make out the horse riding. And,
they do it, Rob, right? And they do it.
Yeah, mate, they do it. Of course, once they start doing it, that's just the warm-up. But then once born, I like it when I make them lose their belly button. They'll do mad stuff, we do some real crazy things, It can be really imaginative, especially if it's over 18's place and you can have a right laugh with them, doing all sorts of the chair and everything.
But Rob, the reason you do that, right, is because people will come to you about wanting to quit smoking and quit drinking.
Not that stuff. That's why I don't do that much, because as I was getting better in my career, I was getting more well-known. 1 minute I'm making people breakdance or whatever, and then next minute I'm doing therapy with serious clients, so I come away from it. So I only do it for charity events and little shows a couple of times a year now. That's the stage stuff. But for the hypnotherapy, that's good for smoking and quitting smoking. But as I say, I'm an unconscious mind therapist. I created my own style of therapy, UMT. And what I do is I look at the unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind therapy is hypnosis is all that everyone knows. But if you see people like Darren Brown, Paul McKenna, even the Speakmans, they sort of use little bits of unconscious mind therapies. And that's all about going behind the scenes, doing what, getting into the engine behind it and just see if you're scared of flying, for instance. Yeah. And I remove that fear, and you get on a plane, you can't be scared. If you don't feel scared, remember I said to you, you can only think how you feel. Yeah. So if you get on a plane and there's no feeling of fear, you're going to feel anticipation, like, oh, what's going to happen? It's going to come. That's normally what they get, but the fear don't come back. So then, guess what? They're not fear to flying anymore. So there's loads of different techniques in which I use. You don't have to be in a deep trance. I do put people into deep trances, but it's more like a relaxed into trance, for hypnotherapy, for like stop smoking and things. Sometimes I do like a wake hypnosis, so that I just get them to close their eyes and take steps through periods of time. And then we do like lots of reframing on emotion, which is good for like PTSD, trauma. Yeah. And that sort of thing. But when I do that stuff, that's just, I'll take care of business quick when it comes to anxiety and things like that. I'll get the feelings removed. And then I'm very focused on the visualizations, the moving forward. It's no good just moving someone's anxiety on one thing, because if you don't give them the mindset to move forward and create a better life, what's going to happen is it's human nature. You know, if someone, say if you hate someone, that person dies, well, you're just going to find someone else to hate, because that's what human nature does. If you have anxiety on one thing and you remove it, you're going to find something else to have anxiety about. So we're creatures of habit. So we have to then remove that feeling and then get in there and teach them about the visualization process of how to create the life that you want, to create new emotions and rewire that reticular activating system. Yeah. So, Rob, there's a lot of people out there who listen to this show who are cabbies and delivery drivers and have normal jobs, who are going through some stresses, issues. We get them all on the show, and they're great people. I get loads of messages about it. And, look, you've helped me through some tough parts of my life. What would be your sort of go-to, your 3, 4, maybe 5 things that you could say to people who, might not be able to come and see you, but want to have that feeling of, I can work on this, I can do something? What would be your sort of 5-step plan for someone who might be struggling right now? The first thing I would say to anyone who's struggling right now is it's more about, first of all, where you put your attention. Is it you put your attention on what you want or what you don't want? This is more important than positivity. And I'll give you an example, Jay, if I said to you, James, I'm going to fail my exam next Wednesday, you'll go, Rob, come on, mate, you're a therapist, be more positive, son, come on. And I'll go, no, you're right, James. I'm positive I'm going to fail my exam next Wednesday. Do you see what I mean? It ain't no good if I'm positive I'm going to fail. It's more about where you put your attention. You can be positive good, or you can be positive bad. So it ain't about positivity. The most important thing is that you start focusing on what you want. So if whatever's going on in your life, it's not, if you ever got lack of money, for instance, and life's getting you down, you've got to start focusing on having money. And, put it for instance, you can't focus on what you want. Sorry, you can't focus on what you don't want and get what you want. You can't focus. It's why New Year's resolutions don't work, and diets. You can't focus on food, and weight and expect to become thin. You can't focus on alcohol and drugs and expect to become clean. You can't, it don't work like that. You have to focus in the right direction. So the first thing is finding where you want to go, and then setting goals. I have so many clients, they're so what's the word? They're so brainwashed into thinking about what they don't want. When I get clients go, what do you want from the session? They'll go, well, Rob, you know what? I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't want to feel worried on the bus. I don't want to be panicking. I go, I never asked you what you don't want. I'm asking you what you want. And they look at me with like, I just told you. I said, no, you never. And they don't even understand the direction I'm talking. Yeah. They don't even get the question that I'm saying to them. You've got to focus on what you want. So I have to break it down into detail and explain to them step by step, and slowly get their minds just to discover the right direction. And a lot of people's problems are that they don't have goals. If you don't have nothing to move forward to, you're going to be depressed. Depression, the thought process of depression is when your thoughts go from here and now to the past, here and now to the past, with no future vision. And that could be for any reason. And I do understand it can be hard when that's become a program in your mind. But we need to create new future patterns of thinking. So if a young lady comes home and boyfriend's gone, she 1 minute she's getting married, she's getting engaged, she's getting, they're going to go on Ibiza and have their and stag do's, and all of a sudden that's been gone. All her future vision she's been practicing has disappeared. Well, she can only think of the here and now and the past. And that's what depression is. When my dad died, I couldn't understand the world without him, so I just kept thinking of him having cancer or him being alive, him having cancer. So I think of him being alive and happy reminds me that he's not here now. And if I think about him being dead, I'll bring back the emotional experience of me seeing him dying of cancer. So I can't win. So it ain't until you start stepping out of that circle towards your goals again, moving forward, that you can come out of depression. It ain't until someone goes out dating again, they come away, like that girl goes out dating and she start finding a new vision of, getting her nails done and getting her hair done and starting to feel good. So it's all about the first thing is discover where you want to go. Where do you want to be? It's not about what you don't want, it's about what you want. And visualization is so important. I can't stress it enough. And people see The Secret and they give it a bad name. It's the most powerful thing you can do. Visualize what you want and do not try to figure out how to get there. That's the RES system's job, because you'll start to create doubt if you start to think about, well, how am I going to get that money? Well, how am I ever going to meet this person? It don't work like that. You just got to keep standing. Do your visualizations in the morning, crack on with your day. You can have a good day, a bad day. You could laugh or cry. What really matters is that you stay focused to the goal.
Yeah. Rob, absolutely fantastic, mate. I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy man.
No, but I appreciate it as well. Really enjoyed it, mate. Really enjoyed it. Lovely speaking to you both.
Yeah. Cheers, Rob.
Rob, see you soon.
I'll see you soon, mate. I'll give you a call. I'll speak to you soon. Rob Hisee there, unconscious mind therapist. What a bloke. You can catch him on Instagram, Rob Hisee. Look out for him, because he is the man that has helped me through a lot of problems. You are listening to TalkSport with me, Jamie O'Harah, and Jermaine Pennant. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we've got Not a Question of Sport.
The Sports Bar.